All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas just wrapped up their end of season press conferences where they pretty much just recapped, the regular season and kind of previewed the offseason moving forward, stuff like that. And it was pretty run-of-the-mill, a lot of coach speak, which is totally understandable. Sticking with your team, backing your guys, not throwing any player, any coach under the bus whatsoever. And we heard that from both Saleh and Douglas here. But Saleh said something that is super interesting. Okay, but before we dive into that, I just quickly wanted to recap, just kind of hit the main bullet points, the main takeaways that I took away from the press conference. The first, again, he backed his guys. He didn't throw anybody under the bus and say, oh no, yeah, we're going to trade this guy. We don't have any plans to bring him back. Nothing like that. Like, if you wear green, Saleh's backing you, and I really like that. Number two, when Zach Wilson came up, he did not commit to him as the starting quarterback in 2023, but he did say he's pretty much guaranteed to compete for the starting job. And, at this point, really, what more could you ask for? I think that's a fair answer. It's an honest answer. And at the same time, it's not like he's doing Zach Wilson dirty or anything. I'm completely fine with that answer. 100%. Number three, there's going to be no set day or time for finalized changes. So whether that's to personnel, whether that's to the coaching staff, and this, to me, like the first thing that, popped into my mind was Mike LaFleur, because this is a big topic. Personally, I thought the majority of the press conference was going to revolve around the OC position. What's the plan moving forward? But it didn't really come up a ton. It was more so focused around the quarterback position, Zach Wilson and whatnot. But Saleh, again, said there's no set mandate that, we're going to have a decision by this time. It was more so he was going to sit back, take his time, and make his, make a smart decision on his own time. Now, something that was super interesting was the fact that Saleh said that they're definitely considering bringing in a veteran coaching option to the squad to essentially fill the role originally owned by Greg Knapp. And, I think that would be absolutely monumental. And it kind of brought me back to yesterday when Rich Cimini dropped an interesting piece, to say the least. He name dropped Gary Kubiak. And as we all know, Gary Kubiak, he's a legend, especially in this type of offensive system. He's one of the guys. In Cimini's own words, he's one of the founders. This is a guy with Super Bowl winning experience, 4 titles under his belt, 1 as a head coach. Okay, he checks that box of being that veteran option. And when you look at the possible, Saleh Kubiak connection, it's there. It's there. As Cimini pointed out, Saleh worked for Kubiak all those years ago back with the Houston Texans. Granted, it wasn't some head coach DC type of thing. Saleh at that time was so much lower on the coaching totem pole, if you will, as a defensive quality control coach. But we look at Kubiak. Really, what more can you ask for? This, to me, I feel like is the obvious choice amongst Jet fans. If you could pretty much have anybody come in to help fix or to help run the offense, make Mike LaFleur's job easier if he's retained. By the way, from the sound of Saleh's answers, his responses, the vibe I get, Mike LaFleur will probably be back, and the Jets will be adding a veteran to the staff to help Mike LaFleur along. Again, nothing is set in stone. I don't know that to be a fact. That's just the vibes I'm picking up from these press conferences. But I feel like the 3 obvious names that every Jet fan is going to mention here: Cliff Kingsbury, just fired from the Arizona Cardinals, Frank Reich, and Kubiak, right? Those are the big 3 that I feel like a lot of people will just link to the Jets naturally. But one guy I kind of have my eye on, Brian Griese, the current QB coach for the 49ers, obviously former quarterback, 10-year player, 10 years in the NFL, has a Super Bowl championship under his belt, has not been coaching for all that long. Right, but we look at what the 49ers, right, so Saleh, LaFleur, same type of deals, similar schemes, all that kind of stuff. We look at what is happening with the 49ers QB room. Trey Lance goes on IR. Jimmy Garoppolo next up, playing really, really good football. Potentially could be the Jets QB next season. So you have that familiar face right off the bat. Jimmy G goes on IR. Now all of a sudden Brock Purdy steps in and is playing lights out football for the last pick in the draft, a 7th round rookie from Iowa State. I loved him at Iowa State. He's a Cyclone legend. I mean, we're looking at that 49ers quarterback room. It seems like whoever they throw out there is having, it's seamless, right? It's a seamless transition. There's not this major learning curve. There's no major problems. The confusion isn't really there. The clunkiness is not really there. And, when Purdy was asked about, some of, how this season has gone so far, he credited Greasy. He gave a lot of credit to him and said, hey, like, he's making my job a lot easier. So I think if the Jets want to, it's always tough to kind of do like a lateral move like that unless you offer maybe an added role. More money obviously helps. But Greasy's a guy that I would personally look at. It's a lot of responsibility for a guy that hasn't coached a lot. But if you want to talk about like a QB whisperer, I mean, he has a track record doing it, working with the 49ers, similar, pretty much the same system, young quarterbacks, old quarterbacks, potentially the Jets' next quarterback in Jimmy G. But I think at the end of the day, whether it's Kubiak, whether it's, Greasy, whether it's Frank Reich, all three options make sense. Kingsbury, I'm not so sure he's going to like immediately jump back to the NFL. I think he might take some time off. We'll see what happens with him. But let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Regardless of, how this offseason goes, it to me is imperative, absolutely imperative that the Jets add a veteran coach to the staff. And again, according to Saleh, they're definitely considering it. So thanks so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts. And as always, go Jets.